Good morning. This is KELOLAND on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
A local television reporter has been fired for allegedly making a prank phone call to the former chair of the South Dakota GOP, Dan Lederman, that appeared to come from Governor Kristi Noem's cell phone. Austin Goss, formerly of Dakota News Now, was charged with a misdemeanor. The phone call in question was received on January 23rd, about halfway through the legislative session.
It included phrases like, "You best quit messing with me," "I know what you said the other day," and "Oh, I'm getting so angry." At the end, it said, quote, "You've just been pranked by prankdial.com. To read the court documents and how the investigation unfolded, we've provided those on KELOLAND.com, along with a statement from Dakota News Now. Meanwhile, police in Aberdeen are investigating a social media post referencing threats of a school shooting to happen today. Authorities say they received several calls about the post around 10 o'clock last night. Officials say the calls reference a photo that has been circulated on social media. Police say the image appears to be the same one being circulated in other parts of the country.
At this time, officials say there does not appear to be a credible threat to the Aberdeen school system. As a precaution, Aberdeen police will have an increased presence in Aberdeen area schools throughout the day. Authorities say they may release more information in the coming days. One person is dead following a shooting in Rapid City. The incident happened Wednesday night in the area of La Crosse Street and East Omaha Street. When police arrived, they found a woman lying in the grass with a gunshot wound.
She was taken to the hospital where she later died. The woman was identified as 26-year-old Serena Spider. Witnesses told police a man was seen running from the area after the gunshots were heard. Officers located 21-year-old Dwayne Sierra and took him in for questioning. He was eventually arrested for second-degree murder. Following Wednesday's charges for a murder 9 months ago, we wanted to look at other cases that are still under investigation. 43-year-old Shane Berger died in the hospital on November 10th following an incident at the Gateway Lounge in October.
And 24-year-old Skylar Yellow Eagle was hit by a white truck during a snowstorm when he was trying to get his vehicle out of the ditch near Marion Road and Bentgrass Street. Sam Clemens with the Sioux Falls Police Department tells KELOLAND News the investigations in both of the cases are closed and have been passed along to the attorney's office for review.
Now let's send it over to meteorologist Scott Munn for a check of our morning forecast. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning, Lauren. Good morning, everybody. We are looking at another warm day, though not as warm as what we had yesterday. We'll have temperatures in the 60s and 70s today. We'll continue to watch for scattered showers and thunderstorms this afternoon, this evening, and for some of us, even tonight. And periods of rain will continue straight through the weekend, straight through that 7-day forecast, as temperatures for highs will remain in the 60s and 70s. Brian will have more details on your forecast coming up.
Thank you, Scott. Spearfish police are on the lookout for mountain lions that have made their way into town.
Neighbors in the area have spotted the animals the last several weeks. While they say it's not unusual to see mountain lions, it is sometimes concerning.
I mean, you know they're around. We do live at the base of the hills right here, so I mean, they're there. It's just, caution and just keep an eye on your kids and your pets, and I mean, it's a normal thing. They're around.
Spearfish police say they are working with South Dakota Game Fish and Parks to decide what to do if the animals remain in the area. Thousands of people have already signed up for the Avera Race Against Cancer. The 35th annual event takes off next Saturday. In addition to the Sioux Falls race, Avera will have events in other communities as well.
There's also a virtual option. Breast cancer survivor Emily Sass and her husband are some of the volunteers helping ahead of the race.
It's just a really fun time to meet other survivors and other people who are passionate about the race. And the race just really needs all hands on deck.
If you'd like to sign up for the race, head to this story on KELOLAND.com. The summer music scene in Sioux Falls hits a high note with the start of the 2023 concert series at Levitt at the Falls.
The Levitt's first of 50 free concerts will be held June 2nd. The long winter has many Levitt concert goers anxious to enjoy the music in an outdoor setting once again.
That was the one thing that got me through, was knowing that when summer got here, I can dance and have sunshine and music, live music.
The Levitt's Morning Family Concert Series will be held on Saturdays instead of Fridays this year to make it more convenient for parents and their children to attend. Let's look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right, weather today, well, I would say for the most part, dodging most of the intense rain, or at least widespread rain. But there's a chance that we will see a few things hit and miss today. A better chance of rain coming up from Nebraska tonight. That's where the severe weather risk is basically focused here, around North Platte, Grand Island, kind of that direction. As we look at the forecast this weekend, let's take a look at the elements here. We've got a northeast wind keeping our temperature likely in the lower to middle 70s this afternoon for most folks. You can see Huron a little warmer. Also, what we see on radar, there's a couple hints of this into Minnesota, southwest Minnesota this afternoon. Even maybe a couple of these pop up on the South Dakota side of the border in eastern Ketherland. I would say there's a better chance of rain in the Black Hills, so that's showing up. And then also the connection into Nebraska comes up from the southwest. Some of these are going to meander northward overnight and into the first part of tomorrow morning. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind as you plan Saturday. We've been calling for some rain chances around. It's certainly not going to rain all day tomorrow. There's going to be breaks in between these clusters as they roll northward, but do keep in mind that tomorrow afternoon there may be some redevelopment in the southeast, and if we can gather a couple of these up, I could see that happening. I'm not going to lock in on a high chance of rain in Sioux Falls necessarily Saturday night, but there's an opportunity there, so we'll continue to watch how that unfolds. Otherwise, our forecast into Sunday is more scattered in nature. When it comes through, though, the rains in Nebraska, northern Nebraska, look a little better, an inch or a little more than that. I would say on the South Dakota side, we're basically running a half an inch to an inch and a half. Local thunderstorm tracks will make the difference within that range of probabilities. 70 degrees today in Watertown, 70 in Marshall. Your 7-day forecast. Low to mid-70s next week. If we get some of these rains, obviously this is pretty good optimal growing weather. We're really getting into a great forecast for that. I would say while it could rain early next week, we're not looking at high chances. We're looking at 20 and 30% as things keep rolling along, and then we'll see how the end of next week flares up as some deeper humidity likely to return from the Gulf of Mexico, and then eventually that'll ramp up the rain chance with it. Aberdeen looking at 60s for the weekend, the cooler weather with the rain around Saturday in particular, and I would say Sunday there's still some possibilities we may add that back in or at least bring it up again on Monday. Here in central South Dakota, we cool off a little bit for the weekend, but overall 70s for highs. It's good weather if we can catch some rains to greening things up. Rapid City too, looking at off and on chances of rain for the weekend. I would say 20% levels by Monday and Tuesday. Check out more details with the weather online at ketherland.com.